Happy 4th of July. Is this great? I hope you had as good of a 4th of July as I did, watching the fireworks and, kicking off your little stuff and all of that. It was great. Me and my girl really enjoyed it. This is a great time, especially this is the best time that I can ever remember it was for blacks in this country. And I'm 72 years old. And I went through racism and all that kind of stuff and everything, but I went to one of the big box stores yesterday and had to go buy something, and somebody got in a truck, hollered all the way across the lot, "Have a nice day, sir." And then I'm walking into the place and people, "Hello, sir, how are you, sir?" Everybody calling me sir. I guess I'm looking old, I don't know, but they didn't used to call me sir, that's for sure. And there's a lot of favor out there for us. And God is giving us that favor, because everything comes from God. And but the world wants to convince us, because see the battle, there's a battle going in our nation. But it's not over racism. This ain't about racist stuff. You know what I'm saying? People are always going to have biases and different things like that. But we're not getting shot every day. It's not like that. But the real battle is over our country. And there are those, and it's like this whole Antifa bunch who done joined up with the Black Lives Matter. They don't care nothing about no black lives or nothing like that, because they coming in and tearing up black neighborhoods and handing bricks out and giving them to 12 and 13-year-olds and having them throw them and all this kind of stuff, blocking express, because their intention is not to better America. Their intention is to tear down America and come back with this utopian concept of socialism. And it's never worked. It's not God's way. So it's not going to work. So the real battle is not between blacks and whites. Actually, if you want to talk about the battle, it's between whites and whites. But the whites on the left are using the black folks as a stick. Got to keep us upset. Now they're trying to get the Indians involved and, tear down Mount Rushmore and tear down every statue that's ever been around. Yet my dad and my great-great-great-great-grandfather was a slave. He paid the price. Then my grandfather, he paid a price as a sharecropper. My dad, he paid a price, working at GEs and all that. And then when I came along, I do remember when I was living in Glendale, They had one swimming pool that was available to us, and they would let the black kids swim on Mondays while they changed the water, but the white kids could swim all alone. Now, my old man, he started going to council meeting about it. He didn't go down there trying to riot or holler, none of that. He just started going to council meeting and lobbying, following the rules. And it was funny. I remember a delegation of black folks in our neighborhood came down to our house and told Daddy to leave them white folks alone because, everybody in our town was either working for him and all this kind of stuff. And, but the long story short, he did that for about 2 or 3 months, and all of a sudden, we could all go swimming with everybody else. So everybody's been through some kind of racist things and all this kind of stuff, but to try to go back and try to fix all of that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. And if we're out there trying to get vengeance and get a pound of flesh and get payback, we're all off into God's territory. And it doesn't work like that. We can't do it like that. Be thankful. They're keeping us so upset that we can't even appreciate where we are now, and got us scared to death. Because it's a funny thing, when the riots was going on, there was nothing about COVID. As a matter of fact, they said that the riots and the protest, they call it peaceful protests. Right, it ain't no peaceful protest if you come in and take over my yard. You know what I'm saying? You can't you can't peacefully come into my yard and take it from me. Oh man, it puts me in the mind about that couple that was out in California. They were living in this ritzy neighborhood and all that, and here comes, they call it Black Lives Matter. It wasn't Black Lives Matter, it was the Antifa. And that's who running it. Did you know that the people that formed Black Lives Matter are trained Marxists, trained Marxists. And that's all tied in. That's all tied in. But anyway, they went to this guy's house. They said it was like 200 of them or something like that. And he had a gate, gate in his yard and all this kind of stuff. He'd been working on this house for like 40 years and all this and all that. And they came in shouting things like, "Eat the rich, eat the rich, eat the rich, eat the rich." What's that got to do with Black Lives Matter? Nothing. And they came on this guy's property and told him they was going to take over his house and do things to his family. And he came out with his equipment and stopped it. And the next thing I know, they had Cuomo on CNN talking to this guy, saying that he shouldn't have come out there for a peaceful protest to those people who were threatening his family. Saying we're supposed to just roll over and let it be and just let it go. See, this is a battle between whites and whites, because ain't no black folks gonna go for nothing like that. And if Black Lives Matter, because they're forming another protest out there in California, and they're supposed to be to end police brutality. Well, I mean, come on, man. I mean, of the millions and millions of incidents that go on, they've got a minute fraction, but they're using this to get rid of the police. And they want to get rid of the police so that we can't protect ourselves, so that there's no law and order. So they can, because this is a Marxist method to take down the country. Get rid of all the semblance of our history and all the statues and all. None of that should be happening. None of that. The Bible says that the police are supposed to be the arm of God to right wrongs, okay? And we're gonna get rid of what God set up, the government. No, it can't be like that. But if this was about Black Lives Matter, last night, I got this, you probably won't even hear about this, but this happened in Chicago. This is from CBS Chicago. Listen, at least 14 people were shot in 2 separate mass shootings in Chicago during the July 4th celebration. Among the victims were 1 child and 2 teens, one of whom was killed. This is the 3rd weekend in a row a child was shot and killed. The 3rd weekend in a row a child was shot and killed, and not a peep out of anybody. It's all okay, but don't let a white person be involved. No, because then it has to be a racist thing, because that's the agenda for dividing the nation and taking it down. And you don't want that. We don't want that. I don't want that. I am a proud American. I done paid my dues too. And now my kid is sitting on top of the world in a Fortune 500 company. I mean, and he has influence. That's how it's supposed to work. And they want to tear the whole thing down. But anyway, it goes on to say, the latest victim is a 14-year-old boy who was shot in the back Saturday night in Inglewood. He was taken to Comer Children's Hospital, where he died of his wounds. 2 other boys, an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old, were still recovering Sunday morning and both listed in fair condition. The boys were among 8 people shot after 11:30 p.m. near 61st and Carpenter Street, according to Chicago police. There was a large gathering in the middle of the street when police say 4 men walked up and started shooting. It's one thing they left out of that? They didn't say that they was black, because that's not popular right now. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to act like, it's all part of the game, and they playing us. They're playing us. And to bring on this socialist world order that they're trying to bring on, and the people say, yeah, but that's a conspiracy theory, and I ain't in on that and all that. I tell you what, you can sit there and sleep as long as you want to, but it's coming. It's coming. And the word says, be ready. See, and And one of the things that they have now that's never existed in the past is they have access to everybody, because everybody's got a phone, and they're pumping out to you what they want you to think. They're censoring any opposing ideas or thoughts, anything about God or anything like that. All that's censored, and putting out things to make you believe that, like for example, I did a search on Marxism. And on every page, it talked about how fair it was and how it, it gets rid of the inequities in people, because, we all ought to have the same. And then there's on the corner of every one of those pages, it says, join the Communist Party. And there was no negatives there, nothing negative about. Yet communism has never worked any place in the world, and neither has socialism. All the countries that have been collapsing, like Venezuela and all them places, they want to do to America what's happened all over the rest of the world, because they've got this world order plan, which is diabolical and straight from hell. And they want you to believe that capitalism is about greed. If you make any money off of something, that's wrong. You shouldn't make no money off of it. That's greed. Well, don't you realize that capitalism only works if you provide for somebody something that they want, and that therefore they're willing to pay for it because they like it, and they have the option to buy it or not buy it. You have the option to offer it and not offer it. We all have our free will, which is God's design. You know what I mean? And if you come out with a bad, you can't force nobody to buy nothing from you. You can't force and take nobody's money from them like that. You know what I mean? So actually, your success in that arena is an indication of how many people you're actually serving. You know what I mean? If you get the right gist of that. But no, they want to come up with this man-made utopia where everybody has the same and it's gonna work. They're gonna improve on God's idea. Let me tell you something. Now, in the Bible, I'm sure you've all heard the story about the talents. And basically, the talents is money, gold. And in this story, a rich man came to his servants, and he gave each one of them a portion of responsibility. He gave one guy 5 bags of gold. He gave another guy 2 bags of gold, and he gave one guy 1 bag of gold. And he said, and he left, and he left. And God, what Jesus was saying is that this is what the kingdom is like. So when the man came back, he went to the guy who had 5 bags of gold, and the guy says, "See, here's your 5, and I made another 5. Here's 10 bags of gold." And he says, "Good, my good servant." Then he went to the guy who had 2 bags, and he says, "Look, now I have 4." So they multiplied his. Then he got to the guy who had 1, and this guy, he says, "I knew you was a hard man." Well, this is what he said. He says, "Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. 'Master,' he said, 'I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and I went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here's what belongs to you.' His master replied, 'You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, and throw that worthless servants outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.'" See, bottom line, it's capitalism that makes jobs. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why these socialist countries are so poor, because if once they get everybody on a government check, nobody's producing anything, and you can't eat a check. somebody got to milk the cow, somebody got to build a house, and in those societies, there's no incentive for work. See, and there's a couple other things, and I'm gonna wrap this up here in about a minute, but there's a couple other things you have to, be aware of. I mean, some things that are coming down the pike that just don't sound right to me. I read this article about Bill Gates and his wife. They have come up with a vaccine for the pandemic, for the COVID, and they want to give it to the black folks first. Let me say that again. They want to give it to the black folks first. Don't sound like Black Lives Matter to me. If Black Lives really mattered, all this killing that goes on every weekend, all this stuff about Bill Gates and all that, none of that stuff would be going on. And I mean, look around at some of our black leaders and what they're asking us, what they're doing. I mean, closing the churches, and I can go do this, but you can't do it. I can go get my hair done, but you can't do it. All this kind of stuff. If they replaced every black person, every white person in office in the United States with a black person, do you think the government would be better or worse or the same? Because that's what they're saying. They're saying that this filthy, nasty country run by these white people, that you put us in office. But look around the world. Look around the world. Look at the cities run by the Democratic Party, and look at where all the problems are. Look at where all the poverty is. Look at where all the shootings are going on. Look at where and we want more of that? Come on now. Like I say, this is a great time. This is a great time to be black. I'm telling you, everybody's trying to help me. And if you go in there talking like you got a little bit of sense, because everybody wants to try to, make it right and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, you can't go in there trying to take advantage of people and all that kind of stuff, but ride the wave. Ride the wave. Don't walk around with a frown. You can miss your good time by just being ugly. And you'll look back and say, I wish I had her, because right now, ride the wave. The last thing you want to do is to live in a communist country where nobody owns any property. You can't pick your own jobs. And poverty's every place because nobody has any money because there's no production. So, and then one last thing. A black national anthem? I didn't know we had one. We don't have a nation. How are we gonna have an anthem? What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? I want the full benefit of America. I want the American police to come and take care of me. I want the American military to cover me. I want I want my title rights in America. You know what I'm saying? I want the same as everybody else. And I got my flag flying outside. So, this is the provision God has given me and you. And we need to be able to go on our knees and give thanks. Lord, I give thanks for all the things that have happened in the past that brought me to this place. I'm going to do just like Paul said, forgetting those things that are behind, I press on towards the mark. I recognize and realize that if all of my thoughts are about me, my, and I am not flowing in under kingdom principles. And I repent of that. And I will become concerned about my brothers that are beyond me. What about all that murder and all the stuff and the broken family and all the things that are happening? So Lord, I just give you the praise. Thank you for this holiday. And folks, don't get played. Don't get played. Those folks that's edging you on don't care nothing about you. You know what I'm saying? And they want to convince you that well, let me put it like this. The Bible says those that those that are awake will be aware, you know. So go to your knees and God will open your eyes. In Jesus' name, amen.